Welcome to Three Peas on a Pod, the PISHA podcast where you get to hear from the current, past, and future presidents of the Pennsylvania Speech Language Hearing Association. I'm Erin Buckwalter, current president of PISHA. This podcast is a place where we talk about what's happening in our professions right now, from advocacy and policy to clinical practice and the issues impacting SLPs and audiologists across Pennsylvania.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Akila Rajappa, President-elect of PISHA. On this podcast, we'll bring you conversations about the challenges and opportunities in our field, highlight important updates, and share ideas that help professionals stay informed, connected, and supported. Thank you for joining us today.
And I'm Dr. Dana Battetti, past president of PISHA. We'll also be talking with colleagues, leaders, and experts from across the state and beyond to share insights, experiences, and practical information that matters to our community. Thanks for joining us for Three Peas on a Pod. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Three Peas on a Pod. I am Nicole Billak, past president of PISHA and current executive director, and I'm meeting with John Rose today from PaTTAN. Hello, John.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. John is from PaTTAN, which is the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network. John, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and what PaTTAN is?
Sure. No, thank you so much. So I'm an educational consultant with PaTTAN. I'm also a speech language pathologist. I practiced all over Pennsylvania for about a decade and then decided that, educational consulting with the Bureau of Special Education for Pennsylvania specifically in Harrisburg. So we have three offices, one in Pittsburgh, one outside Philly, and then one in Harrisburg. So I kind of cover that realm. For speech pathologists, we have about 5 different consultants all throughout Pennsylvania. And then we have a couple that are both BCBAs and speech pathologists that help out throughout Pennsylvania. What we do is we provide professional development for schools, IUs, anything like that. We also provide technical assistance, which a lot of speech pathologists may not know that, but we do provide like boots on the ground, technical assistance for eligibility in the schools, evidence-based practices in the schools, attracting, preparing, and retaining speech language pathologists, even if it's something to the effect of, I'm working with a student, they have a device, and I need some support with making sure I'm getting the right targets or making sure it's tying into their curriculum. We can kind of help with that. And then if I don't have the answer, one of my colleagues may. And then we also have other consultants that help with literacy, autism support, high incidence and low incidence cases, supervisory cases. So we're really all over the place. And the other thing, Nicole, I want to mention is we're not supervisory or like administrative where we go down and look for compliance or we look for, is everybody doing everything, by the book. We're the technical assistance arm of the Bureau of Special Ed. So advisors are the ones that are going to be doing the majority of the compliance. We're going to be doing more of that technical assistance if you need support. Sometimes we work together with advisors if schools do need support, which is totally cool. But most of the time it's school districts reaching out to us or IUs reaching out to us for that support.
Oh, that's wonderful. You can definitely feel like you're on your own little island as an SLP, and having these resources and support is just very valuable. And I think it's an underutilized resource. And I know at PISHA, we're collaborative partners with PaTTAN. We definitely share resources, make sure that we get the word out. And I think you have some resources to share with us today, John, right?
I do, yes. So on Zoom, I'm just going to perfect. I'm going to share my screen here. So as Nicole said, we do have, alongside with some of the other things that we do, we also have a lot of fabulous resources. So again, each initiative, there's a literacy initiative, Autism Support Initiative. We're the Speech Language Initiative. So we have a lot of, first of all, really fabulous resources that are able to help speech language pathologists in the field. And I'll show you a couple examples. When you type, I'm going to share all this stuff with Nicole as well. When you type in PaTTAN speech and language into the search bar, we should just come up automatically, and you'll send you to this page. And I'll also have the link below. Right now, what we have, we can go a few different ways. I'm going to first show you how to do the resources for school-based speech therapists. Let me just open that here. And this has a lot of information for speech pathologists specifically that work in the schools. And this is always going to change, so we can add to it. Some things we take away from because we want to switch that information up. But one example I want to show you is actually what's called under assessment. So we have different layers here: assistive technology, English language learners, one-pagers, kind of just like little pamphlets. But this is an example of something we've been working on, is what's called a comprehensive speech and language assessment fidelity checklist. And this is basically, it's not an evaluation or anything such as that, but what it is a document for new speech pathologists, for us to help out with, even if you want to do it with yourself, to say like, hey, do I have everything I need for a school-based assessment, to have a succinct, comprehensive assessment. So as you can see, it has information about the student, observation data. Down here, because Pennsylvania does follow, of course, federal guidelines, it does have this eligibility analysis that really helps find, okay, do I have the data that's leading me towards services for speech and language support for a student? So that's really beneficial. That's just an example of what we offer, and more to come, which is exciting.
It's very exciting. I love that. And that's one thing
Yes.
that we've been working on with PaTTAN. We've been working on eligibility, a best practice guide for eligibility. And so it's wonderful to see some of these resources come up here. And then as our resources for PISHA get developed, we'll definitely be sharing those as well. That's
Yes.
exciting.
No, it's been fabulous working with Pisha. And again, Pennsylvania is so lucky to have PaTTAN and Pisha, because not every, correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, not every state has like a Pisha like organization to help out with advocacy and building that community. So that, I think it's so fabulous. Yeah. So with that being said, so again, these are going to be our resources that we have. The other thing that I mentioned before, and Nicole and I were talking about before, was making sure that people realize that you can ask for specific support whenever you are working with PaTTAN. And what I mean by that is you can ask for professional development, on-site technical assistance, and then you can also ask for direct support with even just cases that you have on your caseload, such as, for example, like I'm working with this one student who is really involved, and I would like to have somebody I'd really like to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. Like I said, and I can't stress it enough, we're not regulatory. We're not going to try to come in and say like, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that. We are literally here to give you resources, bounce ideas off of, and then having that outside set of eyes. And if we can't help you, we have so many other consultants that can help you, especially with literacy. And I'm sure, as you know, like right now, literacy in Pennsylvania is really in the spotlight right now, especially nationally, but especially in
Definitely.
Pennsylvania. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, yes. And with speech pathologists also having huge caseloads, knowing how I can support with literacy in the schools and trying to work through that. So with that being said, again, so we provide professional development like we talked about before, which has been really what a lot of people gravitate towards, but you can also request for that technical assistance. What I did is I moved back to the main page for the Speech and Language Initiative, right here where it says apply for customized professional development. We're going to click there. and it's going to take us to our customized support portal. Now, there are different supports you can ask for. I'm not going to go through. If you have any more questions, by the way, we'll have our contact information. Nicole and I will definitely get into that. But you can pick with your supervisor what support you need. So this is there are two ways this process can work at the beginning. Number one, you can go to your supervisor as a speech pathologist or as an educational team and say, we need some support with this particular component in our school or this particular system or student, what have you. And your supervisor, so special ed, principal, and so forth, can request this, even superintendents or anything like that. What they would do is just fill out this particular item, where they would pick, again, depending on what you're looking for, emergent customized support, professional development. There's some other options that are pretty specific that we won't get into. The biggest two, though, that I would focus on for now are professional development and emergent customized support. So I'm going to click that. The other way you can go about this is contacting PaTTAN directly and having like a really quick initial meeting to see, like, listen, I don't know if I need to bring it all the way to my supervisor quite yet. So let me just talk with John or one of the other consultants, say like, hey, I'm really working through this situation right now. Is there any support you can give me? And we can say yay or nay. We can give you resources and be like, have at it, contact us later. But let's say we say yes. And then we would, again, start that process. So a little bit longer of a process, but it's still, again, just that confirmation, like, okay, I'm going to kind of go through this and go through my director each way or my special ed supervisor to have them ask for that support. Again, PaTTAN, this is free for the IUs. We help charter schools, we help intermediate units, school districts throughout Pennsylvania. So there's not going to be a cost that's going towards that.
Sure, everyone was thinking that, what is this going to cost me, this customized professional development? I'm sure everyone was thinking that, and that is a good point, John. This is free
Yes.
for Pennsylvania schools. So this help is out there. We just need to know where to find it. This is great.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you, especially when it comes to, again, with Pennsylvania also being one of these these states that does offer that. Like there are organizations, like I said, like PISHA, but PISHA does it really well. And the same thing with PaTTAN. We do have a very robust system that we can help our students in special education, in our students in school districts and IUs in general, and helping those specific populations. And it's really simple. So like I said, we would go and fill this out regarding our site. Let me just show you right here. If we're a school district, charter school, approved private school, and also a career and technical center, which is something that's also pretty big right now that a lot of our consultants are working towards, making sure that our students are career ready, making sure that older students are getting the support they need. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, I feel like even in the school districts and IUs, executive functioning, metalinguistics, cognition for those older students is just so important. And that's another thing that we can help with alongside with articulation, AAC, but that's also something that we can help out with too.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think that's an area that a lot of SLPs would love additional training in as well. Obviously, it becomes extremely important when you get to the high school level. And I do think a lot of those supports tend to drop off. And so I think making sure that you know what resources are out here to help you with those areas is wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's good you bring that up too, because we also, again, we work on helping our SLPs too with their caseload, of seeing what are some different ways that we can manage that caseload. Eligibility, we can't tell you if a student is eligible or not, but we can give you the resources to make sure you're making those evidence-based decisions and that you're in compliance with that federal law as well. And also giving you that opportunity to kind of just have that other set of eyes, which is really important. So again, this is just a entity's name, site. Like I said, your director is going to be filling most of this out, and they have different areas of support need, behavior, general ed, anything like that. What are the audiences, grade levels, and just some other things such as objectives of the support. What are some steps that you've taken in the past? And then also who's going to be that point of contact, such as a supervisor, psychologist, special ed consultant for the school, or instructional coach. As well as just like, is there already an internal team there? To also mention too, Nicole, so each IU has what's called a TAC team, and they're like consultants, but for us, just for that IU, if that makes sense. So we work with them as well. So you may already have somebody working on assistive technology, but then something specific with speech and language support comes through, and that's when they would kind of call us for some support. Then you would just submit it. So it's easy peasy. It's not super duper difficult to use. It's not a super duper difficult thing to use. After that, Nicole, is what we would have is an initial meeting of just ourselves, whoever's involved with that school district, and then we would discuss what are some specific needs you have. What level of support do you need? Because sometimes you might say, oh, I need professional development. We go through the process and we say, oh, you know what? This actually might be good for emergent support. We might want to be visiting a couple of times, seeing how you're doing, versus just a one and done professional development. So there's so many different options. I was thinking like, oh, I'm really giving myself some work this after this podcast, which I'm more than happy to, but I'm just letting people know, like, there's so many different avenues you can take.
We're out there. We want to help, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes,
absolutely.
Definitely. I think that's wonderful, John. I think, PaTTAN, and I've been in the school for 22 years, and PaTTAN has always been something I've known about. I don't feel like I've known quite what the role was, or how I could reach out, or what support was fully offered there. So I think this is really great information for all our SLPs, letting them know that there is support out there. We have resources, PaTTAN has resources, and definitely we're here to help. So I think that is absolutely wonderful. So we know how to reach you if we want continuing education. How about anything else? Is email good for you, John, if someone wanted to reach out directly to you?
Absolutely, yes. So if you want to reach out to myself, it would be jrose@patton.net. I'll share my email and contact information with Nicole. I'll also show you, we recently just published a SMORE that will have all the consultants out there too. Myself and Amy Four are in the central office. And then we have one in Pittsburgh and then two out in the East. Amy Four is the lead for the state. So I'm kind of like the right-hand man, I guess, for Amy in the central office, but Amy kind of foresees everything. And so she'll be involved, but you can always contact me, especially if you have questions about support, for technical assistance or professional development, and I can definitely lead you in the right direction. So I'll give that information to you as well.
That is wonderful, and we'll share that with everyone. So we're hoping that all SLPs out there have a great school year. There is support out there for you. Please make sure you use it if you need it. And we will stay in touch. There'll be more information coming out. Our schools committee is working on that eligibility guideline, like we were talking about, the best practice. We'll definitely be sharing that with PaTTAN and all of our school-based SLPs as soon as that is ready to go. Thank you, John, for being on and showing us everything that you have. I hope everyone's able to use those resources and have a great school year. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Take care.